Introduction. The quiet path within. Tonight, you are invited to take a step inward, not toward sleep, not toward escape, but toward a spacious stillness that lives beneath every breath you take. For centuries, Zen monks and spiritual seekers have walked this quiet path, not in search of answers, but in search of clarity, not in pursuit of happiness, but in remembrance of peace. And not to fight the world, but to meet it gently, as it is. In this journey, I will share with you not just stories, but doors, each one opening softly into a room of awareness, reflection, and truth. They are tales whispered through generations, each carrying a subtle light to guide us through the tangle of modern thoughts. You don't need to believe in anything. You don't need to try hard. Just listen. Let the stories touch the surface of your mind like a soft breeze across still water, and trust the stillness will do the rest. So, take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. This is not the place of effort. This is the space where effort falls away, and something else deeper, older, wiser begins to rise. Now, let us begin with the story of the empty boat. Story 1. The empty boat. There was once a man who enjoyed rowing alone each evening, letting his small wooden boat drift through a gentle river bordered by tall trees and golden skies. It was his peace, his ritual of solitude. But one evening, while lost in the calm rhythm of paddling, he saw another boat heading straight toward him. At first he called out, "Watch where you're going." The boat kept coming. He shouted louder, "Move! Are you blind?" Still, the boat didn't turn. Now, angry, his peace shattered, he stood up to scream. But when the boat gently collided with his, he saw it was empty. No one had been steering it. It had simply drifted on the current. The man laughed, at first from embarrassment, then with relief. There was no one to be angry at, no insult, no intent, only wind, wood, and water. And in that moment, he understood something deeper than he could explain. Most of his anger in life had been spent on empty boats. Zen teaches, we don't suffer because of what happens. We suffer because of the meaning we assign to what happens. We react to others' perceived intentions, forgetting that sometimes they were never aiming at us at all. How many times have you shouted at an empty boat today? The stranger who cut you off, maybe they were rushing to the hospital. The silence from someone you love, maybe they were lost in their own pain. And maybe, just maybe, nothing was ever about you to begin with. When you stop taking things personally, a great river of peace begins to flow. Story 2. The Strawberry and the Tigers. A monk once walked through a dense mountain path, basking in the stillness of nature when from the shadows a tiger appeared. It growled, then charged. The monk ran, as fast as his feet would carry him, until he reached a cliff's edge. Desperate, he grabbed a vine and began climbing down. Halfway down the cliff, he looked up. The tiger paced above. He looked down. Another tiger waited below. Trapped. No way up. No way down. And then he saw it. Growing from the cliff's edge beside him was a single red wild strawberry. He reached, picked it, ate it, and smiled. It was the sweetest thing he had ever tasted. Two tigers past and future, fear and regret, above and below. But the strawberry, that was now. Zen whispers, you live suspended between tigers, between what you cannot change and what you cannot control. And still the present moment offers strawberries, sunlight on your skin, the taste of tea, the breath in your lungs, the quiet of this night. Will you let fear keep you from tasting the strawberry? Or will you, even in the face of your own uncertainty, savor what is? Because sometimes the deepest peace comes not from escape, but from fully showing up for what is here. Story 3. The Two Arrows. One day, a disciple asked the Buddha, "Master, why do we suffer? Why does pain seem to follow us always?" The Buddha replied, "Imagine you are struck by an arrow. It hurts. That is the pain life gives us. Illness, loss, failure. These are the first arrows. They are unavoidable. But now," he continued, "imagine a second arrow fired by your own hand. It is your anger at being hurt, your fear that it will happen again, your bitterness, your stories, your resistance. That second arrow is suffering, and it is optional." The disciple sat in silence, understanding for the first time that suffering is not what happens to us. It's how we meet what happens to us. Zen teaches, the first arrow is real, but the second arrow is a choice. You don't have to add blame to pain. You don't have to add fear to failure. You don't have to carry the wound after the moment has passed. Tonight, if something hurt you today, ask gently, was that pain the first arrow, or have I been firing second arrows at myself all day long? And if so, you can set the bow down. You can stop the war within. Because peace is not the absence of pain. It is the absence of the arrows we aim at ourselves. 4. The mustard seed. There once lived a young woman named Kisa Gotami, whose joy was her only son. But joy turned to anguish when illness took the boy's life. She refused to let him go, cradling his still body in her arms, wandering from door to door. "Can anyone bring my son back?" she begged. People turned away, sorrow in their eyes. Then a wise man said, "Go to the Buddha." When she reached him, she fell at his feet and pleaded, "Master, I cannot let go. Please bring my son back." The Buddha looked at her gently. "I will help you," he said. "But first, bring me one mustard seed from a house that has never known death." Eager with hope, she searched the village. But every home had a story of loss. "My father died last winter. My daughter passed away in the rains. My wife never returned from childbirth." House after house, sorrow echoed her own. By nightfall, Kisa returned to the Buddha empty-handed, but with eyes open. "There is no house untouched by death," she said. "No family without sorrow." The Buddha nodded. "Now you understand. Grief is not yours alone. It is part of the human path." Kisa buried her child that night, not in despair, but in peace. Zen reveals, we suffer most when we believe our pain is unique, but suffering is the thread that weaves all lives. And in seeing that, we begin to let go not of love, but of the illusion of permanence. 5. Maybe. The farmer and his horse. In a quiet village, a farmer lived with his only son. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors cried, "What terrible luck." The farmer simply said, "Maybe." A week later, the horse returned bringing wild horses from the mountains. The neighbors exclaimed, "What good fortune." Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." Soon, his son broke his leg while taming one of the wild horses. The villagers lamented, "How unfortunate." And the farmer replied, "Maybe." Then war came. All the young men were conscripted except his son, spared because of his injury. "Such a blessing," they whispered. The farmer just smiled and said, "Maybe." Lesson. Zen asks us to suspend judgment, not because we don't care, but because we don't know. What seems like a curse may hold a hidden gift, and what seems like a gift may carry a hidden lesson. Your peace doesn't come from labeling every moment. It comes from meeting each one with openness. So when life changes suddenly, as it always does, try whispering softly, "Maybe." 6. The Buddha and the Angry Man. One afternoon, as the Buddha sat teaching under the trees, a man pushed through the crowd. "You are a fraud," he yelled, "a deceiver." He cursed, spit, shouted. The Buddha sat calmly, unmoved. The man grew louder. "Don't you care what I say?" At last, The Buddha spoke. "Tell me if someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it. To whom does the gift belong?" The man, confused, said, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha nodded. "So too with your anger. I do not accept it. It remains with you." The man fell silent. Insight. What we refuse to take in cannot harm us. Anger, blame, judgment, they are like gifts, but we must receive them to be affected. If we don't, they return to the sender. In each moment we choose. Will we pick up the hot coal or let it fall? 7. The teacup is already broken. A monk once held a simple clay teacup and said, "This cup is already broken." His student looked puzzled. "But it's perfect." The monk nodded. "And that's why I love it. Because I know one day it will break. And because I understand that, I can enjoy it fully now. Everything you love, your body, your home, your relationships, is already changing. Nothing is promised. Nothing is forever. And that's not sad, that's sacred. Because once you stop clinging, you start loving more purely. Drink your tea. Hold your beloved. Watch the sunset. And in your heart whisper, "It is already broken, and still it is beautiful." 8. The generosity of not taking. A wealthy merchant brought a silk robe to the Buddha. "Please accept this gift, honored one." The Buddha looked at the fine fabric and smiled gently. "I thank you," he said. "But I have all I need. I wear one robe. I eat one meal. I walk one path." The merchant insisted, "But this is the best I can offer you." The Buddha placed his hand on the man's shoulder. "Then offer it to one who is cold tonight. That will honor me more than any silk could." And so the merchant gave the robe to a poor traveler, and for the first time he felt truly generous. Truth. Giving isn't about what we give. It's about how we see the one who receives it. Zen doesn't ask us to give more. It asks us 9. 2 monks and a woman. 2 monks, one elderly and one young, were traveling together. As they walked through the countryside, they came to a river swollen with rain. A young woman stood at the edge, afraid to cross. She turned to the monks. "Please, could one of you help me?" Without hesitation, the elder monk lifted her in his arms and carried her across. The younger monk followed, silent and wide-eyed. For hours they walked on. Finally, the young monk couldn't hold his question. "Master, we took vows never to touch women. How could you carry her?" The old monk smiled. "I put her down hours ago. Are you still carrying her?" Teaching. We carry so much longer than we need to. Conversations, grudges, doubts, shame. Zen teaches us to act mindfully, let go swiftly, and walk on lightly. What burden are you still carrying? 10. The empty cup. A university professor came to visit a Zen master, seeking wisdom. "I've read books on Buddhism," he began. "I've studied Eastern philosophy for years." The master poured tea. The cup filled, then overflowed. Tea spilled onto the floor. "Stop!" cried the professor. "The cup is full." The master paused. "Exactly. How can I teach you if your cup is already full?" Wisdom. Let go of knowing. Let go of being right. Let go of what you think Zen is. Only then can you taste it. Come empty, and the world will pour into you. 11. Chopping wood, carrying water. A young monk asked his teacher, "What is enlightenment?" The teacher smiled. "Chop wood, carry water." The student nodded. "And after enlightenment?" "Chop wood, carry water." The student blinked. "That's it?" The teacher nodded. "But everything changes." Lesson. Zen is not about floating above life. It's about being deeply present in it. The dishes, the broom, the morning light. Nothing special, and yet everything sacred. 12. The moon cannot be stolen. A thief once came to rob a Zen master's hut, but the hut was empty. The master said, You came far to steal and found nothing. Let me give you something." He handed the thief his tattered blanket. As the thief fled, the master sat in the moonlight and whispered, "Poor man. I wish I could have given him the moon." Reflection. When you have nothing to protect, no one can take anything from you. True freedom is not having more, it is needing less. 13. The sound of one hand. What is the sound of one hand clapping? A student asked. The master simply sat. The trees moved in the wind. The birds sang. In the silence, the student heard it not a sound, but a space. A place where logic ends and awareness begins. Zen does not always answer. Sometimes it points. 14. The strawberry in the wild. A man fleeing a tiger ran off a cliff and caught a vine. Above him the tiger, below him more. Then he saw a wild strawberry. He picked it. He ate it. It was the sweetest thing he had ever tasted. Truth. We are always between the past we cannot change and the future we cannot control. But here, right here, there are strawberries. Do you see them? 15. The true miracle. A disciple said to his master, "I've seen yogis walk on water, levitate, survive without food. Isn't that miraculous?" The master replied, "The true miracle is to walk on earth, to wake up, to smile, to touch life deeply." Insight. Extraordinary powers are impressive, but presence, real grounded presence, is the miracle Zen offers. You don't need to fly. You only need to be here, fully. 16. The finger and the moon. A master pointed to the moon. "Do not mistake the finger for the moon," he said. "The teachings are a finger. Zen is a finger. Even this story is a finger. But the moon is your own direct experience. Too often we cling to the finger, the book, the quote, the ritual, and never look up. Reminder, don't worship the words. Let them guide you to the silence behind them. 17. The monk and the broken bowl. A young monk cherished his begging bowl carved by hand, a gift from his teacher. One morning, he tripped, and the bowl shattered. Devastated, he wept. His teacher came, knelt beside him, and asked softly, "What was the purpose of the bowl?" "To receive food," the monk sobbed. "Then find a new bowl." The giving continues. Lesson. When something breaks, ask, was it the thing that mattered or what it allowed? Zen is not attached to forms. It returns to function, to essence, to simplicity. 18. The master's silence. A student asked, "What is the way?" The master said nothing. The student pressed, "Please, master, I need to understand." Still, silence. Frustrated, the student left. Years later, through meditation, he tasted stillness, and then he understood. The silence had been the answer all along. Some truths are not spoken. They are felt, sensed, inhaled. Let silence teach you. 19. The temple in the mud. A group of students visited a grand temple on a hill, golden spires, chanting monks, polished floors. As they left, their master led them down the hill and knelt in the muddy path. He drew a circle in the dirt. "This too is sacred," he said. Insight. It lives in dirty roads, cracked hands, ordinary breath. Wherever you are, that is your temple. 20. The last breath. A dying monk lay in his robes, breath shallow. A student sat beside him. "Master, are you afraid?" The old monk smiled. "I have breathed for 90 years. This is simply another breath in a new direction." Final teaching. Even death, when met with presence, is just a moment. And presence, it is always here, always now. So breathe, softly, fully. You are already home. The path beneath your feet. You have journeyed through forests of paradox, rivers of silence, and mountains of surrender. Each story whispered not answers, but invitations. To look again, to soften, to return. Zen does not offer a ladder to climb. It offers the floor you're already standing on. The farmer, the monk, the thief, the moon, they were never outside you. They were mirrors, each tale reflecting your own fears, your longing, your peace. So what do we do now? We walk. We rise from the cushion, pour tea, hold a door, speak gently, and continue. Because the way is not in temples or books or even in this story. The way is this moment, right now, as you read, as you listen, as you breathe. How to carry Zen with you. Be where you are. Let go of the next thing. Come fully into the now. The present is not a step on the way, it is the way. Hold lightly people, objects, emotions, love them fully, and hold them gently. Everything is already changing. Return to the breath. When the mind races, return to the breath. It is your anchor to presence, your silent teacher. Accept not knowing. Let mystery remain. You don't need to understand to be at peace. In fact, peace often begins where understanding ends. See the sacred in the simple, washing a bowl, listening to rain, holding someone's hand. These are the temples of your life. You are the story. There is no final Zen tale, because the next story is yours. The way you greet the morning, the way you sit with grief, the way you listen, the way you walk through the noise without becoming it. The Buddha is not a statue. Zen is not a scroll. Enlightenment is not a place. It is you aware. Now, always. So close the book, finish the tea, fold the blanket, and walk. Not toward anything, not away from anything. Just walk, softly, as if the earth were your friend. Because it is. And so is this breath. And so are you.